Once you've set up your chart of accounts in at least one location, you can begin adding inventory items to a location. Carillon ERP has a very thorough yet easy to follow item maintenance method. To add or edit an inventory item, go to Maintenance, Item Maintenance, Inventory Item Maintenance. As you can see, there are many tabs. You can record as much or as little information about an item as you would like. You can even change tab labels or hide tabs you don't need by going to System, Security, User Maintenance. Any of the fields that are not underlined are optional. However, entering as much detail as possible about an item can save you a lot of hassle in the future. The required fields are Company ID, Location ID, Item ID, Lead Time, Chart of Accounts, and Unit of Measure. Carillon allows you to set a default company and location under User Maintenance. Otherwise, you can double-click on each of these boxes to choose your company and the location where this item is stored. To add a new item, you can either assign your own item ID or have it auto-generated. Then assign an item description. For my demonstration, my item is going to be a bell. Carillon has built-in note capabilities throughout the system. This allows you to define mandatory notes that will make the Notes tab show up first. There are many reasons you may want to have a note. One could be to attach additional information about an item to that item. You can assign a producer ID as well. If you haven't set up the producer yet, no problem. Unlike other ERP systems, Carillon allows you to have multiple windows open at once, so you can create the producer now without closing item maintenance. Once the producer is in the system, just double-click on the Producer ID box and select the producer. Unlike most ERP systems, Carillon distinguishes between vendors, suppliers, and producers. Now you should select how this item is acquired for this location. You either purchase it, have it transferred from another location, or make it. The next step is to enter the lead time, which is the default number of days this item takes to get to this location from the time you make it, place a purchase order, or issue a transfer request. The promised day increment is used in sales order entry. When you're taking a sales order, it's the number of days you should tell the buyer it will be until they receive the item. If you manufacture this item, you can enter the standard yield, which is the percentage of the output that's good to sell, and a labor charge, which is the overhead amount built onto the cost of that item. Slot was a function used before we had bins, so you can change this to a different field if you'd like. You can then enter a manufacturer name if you'd like, but it's somewhat obsolete if you've entered a producer ID. Now, on the right, there are several boxes you can check. Lot tracking is for items that need the ability to be recalled. Unlike most ERP systems, Carillon has cradle-to-grave tracking. This means if a specific part is recalled, Carillon will tell you where the finished goods containing that part ended up. The bin is where the item is stored within the location, such as a shelf number. Carillon allows you to have multiple items in any one bin or any one item in multiple bins. Sellable just means you're able to sell this item. If you leave this box unchecked, the item won't show up in sales order entry. You should check serialized if you want this item to have a serial number, which would be unique to that individual item. If you say this item is stockable, that means it's your intent to have it in stock. It does not mean that you will have it in stock if you check it, nor does it mean that you will not have it in stock if it's unchecked. For example, if someone returns an item you don't normally stock. An other charge item is an intangible item. It's something you charge for but cannot count. Other charge items could be cutting, freight, handling, or other service fees. Checking this box tells the system not to keep track of on-hand quantity for this item. Outsource is rarely used in inquiries and reports. It just means this item is usually acquired from a third party. Raw material is really only used within Carillon if you want to form a custom report. Bonded gives you the ability to store inventory in a bonded warehouse, which has to do with duties for international imports. This checkbox, as well as some others, will show up only if you have your system parameters set up to include them. If you check inactive, this item will still show up in reports and inquiries, but you can't process any new transactions for that item while it's marked as inactive. This is useful for seasonal or promotional items that are not always available. You have the option not to include this item in the price file listing. For instance, if you want to give a copy of the listing to a customer and don't want certain items on it. If you select delete, it doesn't actually delete this item from the system, but it will no longer show up in reports and inquiries. You can undelete any item by typing in the item ID and unchecking the delete box. Accounts. Carillon is designed so that most users don't need to know about the chart of accounts. The asset, revenue, and cost of goods sold for each item is stored in the inventory master and is automatically linked to item maintenance so that it doesn't need to ask users what the general ledger code is for each transaction. Classes, aside from commission class, are user-defined fields. You can use the multilingual function to define additional attributes of an item, such as the product line that you would like to be recorded. Pricing is not where you actually set up customer pricing. You would complete this section only if you want certain details, such as the list price, to show up on invoices to customers. Carillon can automatically offer a price break for specified quantities, and unlike other ERP systems, Carillon can assign a quantity price break class if, for example, you want to offer a discount for a quantity of any assortment of Coke products, not just Diet Coke. Pricing class is rarely used unless you have very sophisticated pricing algorithms. For example, if you want to convert different units of liquor to one standard unit of measure for costing, duty, or tax purposes. Alternate pricing item ID is also rarely used. It finds the price of the alternate item when it can't find the price of the item being sold. Rental deposit amount is the default deposit you charge if you rent this item. Carillon allows you to assign substitutions for items. Like if one brand of a part is interchangeable with another, but you still want to keep separate records for each brand, you can inform the system that one can be substituted for the other. Carillon keeps record of various types of item weight. Gross weight includes the packing materials and weight of the box. Net weight is the weight of the product itself. Cube is the three-dimensional volume of an item. And purchasing weight includes the weight of the pallet and other packing materials. This information is important because shipping containers, such as a truck trailer, are usually constrained by weight or volume. The Information tab is where you can enter a lot of miscellaneous information. Some fields are user-definable and others, such as proof and vintage, will only show if you have them set up to show. Other fields present here are the UPC code, which utilizes Carillon's built-in barcode capability to scan and track items, country of origin, which is used when you need to file customs for imported goods, drawing file name and reference number, which refer to an AutoCAD drawing. You can program Carillon to launch the file directly. Default location ID is where this item would be by default. Default location shouldn't show up unless you have the customs module. Case contents item ID is used if you repack cases. It can track how many cases and how many items per case. For example, if you have 2007 and 2009 vintages of the same wine, it can tie the vintages together in the inventory master for certain reports. Master item ID, which ties together case contents, is the ID for all items in the case as a whole. If applicable, you can also designate a tariff code, U.S. Harmonized Tariff Code, and Federal Excise Tax Code. This, along with how to set up tax jurisdictions, which is the next tab, will be covered in a separate video. The Packaging tab is where you set up stocking unit of measure. Carillon allows you to sell an item at a different unit of measure than you bought it. You can designate the barcode letter format, such as if you want a large or a small barcode and what information you want on the barcode. Choosing a pick ticket format will designate which documents the pick ticket prints on if you need different information on pick tickets for different items, such as to specify where it's coming from or if it needs to be repacked. If you use a staging area, check the box indicating this is a staged item to ensure it shows up in the staging area status window. Some companies like to keep track of how many pallets or other packing and shipping items they have, so Carillon allows you to specify if this item is a shipping container. You can select if this item is pre-packaged. This is useful in instances when an item comes in a case but you sell it individually. You'll want to re-barcode the item. Packing costs is an informative field that you can either enter the packing cost for this item or relabel it to record something else. Operations are tasks done in a work center. This is the production and job costing side of Carillon you can use if you make this item. Carillon has a very robust bill of material. Most ERP systems only include the tangible items it takes to make an item, but Carillon allows you to include the tasks and other operations necessary to make items, tracking the entire workflow process. Item override is rarely used, but it's here in case you need different invoices, pick tickets, or pay terms for different items. Carillon has auto-generation capabilities, meaning you can ask that whenever a sales order is processed, it automatically generates a purchase order and can have the item drop shipped to the customer. This is especially useful if you don't keep this item in stock. You can also have it automatically generate a production and job order if you're the manufacturer of this item. You can apply finance charges on an item-by-item basis in Carillon, making it possible to apply a finance charge to a product without applying it to the shipping cost. The Supplier tab ensures more accurate orders by keeping record of the supplier's ID and description for this item and automatically using it on purchase orders to this supplier. If you have multiple suppliers, one needs to be the primary or default supplier. Accounts payable keeps record if this item qualifies for a discount. This is especially useful in instances where you may get a discount on the cost of an item when you pay the supplier within 10 days, but you don't get a discount on the freight charge. The usage graphs and item maintenance are very basic, so we recommend creating your own graphs using Carillon's custom report writing feature. If for some reason you want to redo your item IDs when converting to Carillon, the system can easily cross-reference if you enter the old item IDs. It also allows you to have multiple old IDs tied to a single item. Carillon supports FIFO, first in, first out, costing with unlimited accurate FIFO layers. It also supports average and standard costing. Carillon also keeps record of the last received PO costs and other information that can be helpful when reordering an item, such as if you want to know what you paid last time. This information is updated automatically, and these fields are also available in the purchase order entry window. Some of them form the basis for customer pricing. Standard cost automatically recalculates debits and credits to reevaluate the entire inventory you have on hand. Cost factors are if you have additional costs such as ocean charges. Carillon can do system-wide unit of measure conversions as well as conversions at the item level. This is helpful if you need to do unconventional conversions such as feet of pipe to pounds. You would need this done on an item-by-item basis if you have different kinds of pipe of different weights. The Components tab is rarely used because Carillon has a more detailed bill of materials, but some of our clients use it as a quick way to create an assembly. You can easily add a picture of this item and have it print on pick tickets, order entries, or most anything else. Quantities tracks the total quantity on hand at that location. You can set up minimums and maximums and help suggest order quantities. Yellow quantity is the trigger point for indicating you need to order or make more of this item. It is used in the Available to Sell dashboard. Order multiples is where you would indicate, for example, that this item must be ordered by the dozen. The EPA tab is used if you need to report to the Environmental Protection Agency. Or, as always, you can use the multilingual function to relabel it to whatever you want. The User-Defined tab is for adding any other item aspects you want to record. You can also use it to simplify the language or define your own company language or even user language if, for example, the company uses the term customer, but one user prefers to use the term client. Characteristics allow you to only choose things that are compatible with each other, such as colors of parts that go together or grape varieties that make up a wine blend. If you serialize your rental items, Carillon can track where they are under the Rental tab. And that is item maintenance with Carillon ERP. We think you'll find Carillon has the most functionality of any ERP system, but we do pride ourselves on catering to each of our clients' needs. So if there's a function your organization needs that Carillon doesn't yet have, we'd be more than happy to create it for you. For further information on how Carillon can make your business more successful, please visit our website and don't hesitate to contact us.